Welcome to the Killer Author Club. 3 best-selling authors talking about killing, of the fictional kind, with the best thriller and suspense authors in the business. Killer conversations, killer cocktails, and killer guests, with your hosts, Kimberly Belle, Heather Gutenkopf, and Kara Ruda. This is the Killer Author Club.
Hello, and welcome to the Killer Author Club, your favorite haunt for all things murder, mystery, and mayhem. Tonight, we are so excited to welcome the one and only Nicole Baart to the Killer Author Club hot seat. We have all the questions about where he left me, so buckle up and get ready to kill the lights. I'm Killer Heather Gutenkopf.
I'm Killer Nicole.
I'm Killer Kara Ruda.
And I'm Killer Kimberly Belle.
And before we dive into Nicole's wonderful book, a couple quick PSAs. Tonight's show will be available this Friday as a podcast, including bonus content just for listeners. Find the links at killerauthorclub.com. And while you're there, sign up for our newsletter so you're the first to hear all of our killer breaking news. And now, Kara, can you please introduce our guest?
I'd love to. Nicole Baart is the author of 12 novels, including Everything We Didn't Say, an October 2021 Book of the Month selection and Amazon Editor's Pick, and Where He Left Me, the co-founder of a nonprofit and mother of five. She lives in Iowa with her family. Learn more at NicoleBaart.com. Nicole, welcome to the show. We're so happy to have you.
Thank you. I'm so happy to be here. I've been watching you guys forever, so it's fun to be here.
You're here with us, which is awesome. Okay, so will you give us a quick elevator pitch about Where He Left Me?
Yeah, Where He Left Me is the story of Sadie Sheridan. She's a newlywed in her early 40s who moves away with her husband to his familial home in the North Cascades of Washington. And when he takes off on a business trip and doesn't return, she finds herself alone on a mountain with a storm bearing down and intruders on her property. So it's kind of a locked door mystery, but the whole thing takes place on a mountain.
Yeah, it's a little terrifying. Thank you for that. And okay, readers, get chatty and drop your questions for Nicole in the comments. And first, Kimberly, what are we drinking tonight?
Tonight's drink is Felix's Old Fashioned, chosen by Nicole herself. Nicole, please tell us why you chose this as tonight's killer cocktail.
Oh, I love an old fashioned, and I especially love them in the wintertime. If you can smoke it, even better. So a smoked old fashioned in the mountains as a winter storm is coming just felt like the perfect drink for tonight.
I love it. I love it. Well, it definitely fits the setting. You need something to keep yourself warm there.
Yeah.
Yes, so cool.
For sure.
So we created the Killer Author Club so readers can get up close and personal with their favorite thriller writers. So this season's lineup is stacked with killers, with like Jilly McMillan and, drum roll please, Lee and Andrew Child, the killer brothers responsible for a big guy you may have heard of, Jack Reacher. And for dates, times, past episodes, and our Killer 2026 lineup, which is hot off the press and newly uploaded, surf to killerauthorclub.com. But tonight, it's all about Where He Left Me. So our own killer Kimberly Belle says, with lyrical prose and cleverly layered structure, Baart lures you into the wilds of the North Cascades, where a missing husband, a fractured family, and long-buried secrets collide. And love can be the most dangerous illusion of all. And Publishers Weekly says the foggy and menacing Pacific Northwest setting generates just as much tension as Baart's shrewdly coiled plot. The result is an unsettling portrait of isolation and anxiety that will get under the reader's skin. So good. So Nicole, clearly you are a skilled and clever killer. So now we need to know the answer to your killer question. Why do you kill?
Oh, that's such a hard question, you guys. I'm not a masochist, I promise. I'm not a sadist. I love people. I hate seeing bad things happen to them. And yet I love a good story. And to me, it's not so much what happened as why it happened, and figuring out people and their psychology and yeah, what would cause them to do harm to another person is just fascinating to me. So yeah, I love playing with that, and I love writing suspense.
And you do it so well. You do it so
Oh,
well.
thanks.
It's, we were mentioning earlier just how, you not only write these beautiful, these page turning thrillers, you write them so beautifully. So you manage to make things that are scary sound beautiful. So that's a real talent. So thanks for that.
Thanks. I think I'm a poet at heart. I'm a wannabe poet, so I write novels instead.
Yes. Oh, you do great with that. So, but American Alchemy is both deeply intimate and relentlessly suspenseful. So, what was the spark that first inspired this story?
Yeah, there were several different things. My husband was born in Vancouver, British Columbia, and we lived there for years before we moved back to Iowa. And when we were living there, we loved the mountains, we loved hiking, we did bush camping, where you just drive up on a logging road and find a place to pull off and hike into the wilderness. So we were actually on a hike with our kids a couple of years ago in BC, and we came across, this wasn't a bush camping thing. We were on an actual trail. We wouldn't take our kids just off into the wilderness like that. But we were on a trail, and as we were hiking, we crossed an old a train track that had been abandoned. So it was one of these like foggy, misty mornings in the Pacific Northwest where you can see like the fog hanging in the trees and it's very damp. And my kids went on ahead, and I just stopped and took a picture of the train tracks, and I'll put it online if you guys want to see it. I'll pop it up there tomorrow. But I took this picture of the train tracks, and as soon as I was done, I could have sworn there was a person like in the mist farther down. And I called my husband back and was like, oh my goodness, I think there's somebody out here. And it was just this really creepy moment, but it stayed with me. And I wanted to capture the essence of those scary minutes, on the mountain. And I tried to do that in Where He Left Me.
Well, you did it. I was scared.
It is. And Hemlock House, the setting, feels more than just a setting. It's almost a character itself. How did you go about creating this sense of menace and sanctuary around a house?
Oh, thanks. So when we lived in BC, we spent a couple of years in an old farmhouse that was built in the late 1800s. So we were on 19 acres. Our neighbors were very distant, and yeah, we could see Mount Baker from our front window. But in the evenings, like packs of coyotes would come through our yard, and we'd hear them howling. And the windows were all original glass, so they'd like shake in the window frames and stuff. And we loved that house. It's the best house I've ever lived in. And yet it was kind of a scary place to be. We were like, if something happened out here, we're in the middle of nowhere. It would take 20 minutes for anybody to come and be able to find us. But yeah, it was amazing.
I love it. So anybody who's ever read any of my books knows that I love stories about marriage, and especially secrets in a marriage. So, and you do that so well with Sadie, who's, left questioning whether she ever really knew her husband, Felix. So what drew you to that as a theme of this story?
Yeah, it's kind of a hard one. So I've been married for like 25 years, which is hard for me to believe sometimes. And I really wanted Sadie to be fresh to marriage. So she's been married for 1 year, but she's in her 40s. And I really appreciate books that have older heroines. I don't think we always have to be in our 20s to be interesting. So I wanted to put her in this situation where she has a new marriage, a new job, she's in a new place. Everything is just so incredibly new, and she has to wrestle with it all. Like, I don't know where I am. I don't know who I am. She's on the verge of a new career, and I don't know who my husband is. So it was really fun to explore that.
So good.
I love that.
So one of the taglines is "In every world, I'd find you." It's so evocative. And how does this idea thread through Sadie's journey throughout the book? And where did you come up with that line, "In every world, I'd find you"?
So I have a confession. That is not my line. I I have an incredible agent, and I love my agency so much. But Mariana, who is my foreign rights agent at my agency, came up with that line. We were talking about the book. We were having a brainstorming session, and she was like, I feel like we could say something like, "In every world I'd find you," or "In every world I'd love you." And we ended up. I just loved it. We grabbed it. We went with it, and it ended up being kind of a central theme. But the stars, the whole like that all ties back to Felix's job. He's a professor of planetary sciences. Um, And I fell in love with the stars a couple of years ago in Arizona. I was actually on a trip there, and there was a professor of planetary sciences who led like a nighttime stargazing retreat. And I went because I thought, oh, why not? I didn't really have that much of an interest in it. But by the time that night was over and I stood up, we were literally laying on the ground looking at the sky. I was like, oh my goodness, this is amazing. It's the coolest thing I've ever seen. I completely fell in love with the stars. So Felix's love for the universe is kind of drawn throughout the entire book, and that line just captured it so perfectly, I thought.
Yeah, I agree with that. It really did. Yeah.
Thanks.
And also, especially because, the missing husband thing, it works on all levels,
Oh, thank you.
Okay, so storms, both literal and emotional, play a role in this story. What do you find compelling about using nature as a mirror for psychological tension?
Oh, you guys have the best questions. Oh, I love nature. I'm an outdoorsy girl, so I find my peace and connection and happiness by being outside. And yeah, when we lived in BC, it was very easy to step out and see the mountains, the ocean, whatever. Now that I'm in Iowa, I have to look a little bit harder. So it comes in the form of my flower garden and my vegetable garden and hikes in the prairie. Um, but yeah, feel the most connected to myself and the world around me when I'm out in nature. So to be able to draw that into my books just feels natural to me.
Mm.
Yeah.
Love it. And Felix is one of the main characters, but he's absent for a lot of the novel. Yet, his presence is kind of everywhere because that's what the premise or the plot kind of revolves around. Where is he and what happened? So how do you write a character who's central but who's not really on the page that much? How did you go about doing that?
That was really hard. And
I bet.
yeah, it was. The first draft of the book didn't have the flashback chapters.
Ah.
So there's a flashback chapter every 3 present tense chapters, if that makes sense, that talks about their story and how they fell in love and brings Felix onto the page. So we had to do that a little bit later because my editor was like, I'm not feeling it. I am having a hard time connecting with her passion for her husband and her desire to find him because I don't know who he is. So I'm hoping that worked. But throughout, I had tried to have 2 things throughout the entire book, just a ticking clock, like he's gone, and how long has he been gone? Because I feel like as a spouse, if my husband went missing, I would know down to the minute and the hour, exactly how long he had been gone. So that's there. And then the second thing is she's constantly thinking about him. He's just this refrain in her mind because, yeah, she loves him and she wants him back.
And those flashbacks work really well because it doesn't jive with what she's experiencing.
Exactly.
Today. Like everything we knew about him from your flashbacks was that he was this reliable, passionate person who loved his wife, and then he's gone. But she begins, to wonder if he left on purpose or what's happening here. And so that was a really neat balance. So how did you do that? So, you're known for your prose and how poetic it is. We talked a little bit about that. So how do you balance that with creating a thriller and that ticking time bomb of, what happens next? How do you balance those two?
Not always very well. I tend to like to write flowery, so I feel like I have to write a draft that's just me saying all the things I want to say. I wax poetic about the mountain and yeah, just being outside and what that all feels like, and then I have to cut like a lot of it.
Kill your darlings.
Yes, kill your darlings, exactly. But first I have to let myself have my darlings. So
Yeah.
I go there first and I let that happen. And then I do a lot of cutting. But the second thing that I do is I would love to hear from you girls whether you plot or pants. If you just kind of fly by the seat of your pants or if you plot. I started out being a pantser all the way. I'd write a chapter and then I'd ask myself what's next, and I just let that happen. But I cannot do that anymore. If I want to write a tight suspenseful mystery or thriller, I need to have red herrings. I need to have foreshadowing. I need to have all these pieces that, dominoes falling down. And I found that if I didn't know what was coming next, my dominoes were a hot mess and my mystery didn't work. So I'm a plotter.
Yeah, preaching to the choir with me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, pantser.
Really? How do you do it? You must be so smart, Kara. You must be a lot
No.
smarter than me because I can't hold all those threads together.
I don't know, but it's really, I mean, that first draft's super fun for me. And that to me is like where the fun lies. But I do, I have to go back and like add stuff in or whatever. But yeah, I just love it. But I have learned that there are benefits to plotting things out, especially like the three of us worked on a project together. And so there was no way we could have written a book together without having it plotted out. And so I learned that there are benefits to all of that too.
Yeah, for sure.
And I'm somewhere in the middle.
Yeah.
I've learned along the way, like you have, Nicole, that sometimes you need that map to keep things flowing and going.
It certainly helps. It makes it easier when you wake up and you know exactly what you have to write that day. So Renee would like to know, how did you come up with the names of your characters?
Oh, sometimes I have a really clear picture of my character in my names, and that happened with Sadie and Felix. And I wish I could tell you how. I don't really even know. I love the name Felix. I just think it's fantastic and it fit him. He's Mexican American, so it fit his heritage. And as for Sadie, I have always loved that name, and it was just fun to write a character. I finally
They're
got to use
both
it.
very unique names.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, there's a few other names in there too that are probably kind of unique, but yeah.
Okay, next question. Does your spouse read your books?
He does at the end. He's not a huge reader and probably reads a lot more nonfiction. But I can say that my kids have never read my books. They're
Really?
yeah, never. I mean, they're younger. I've been writing their whole lives. So to them, every once in a while, somebody will say like, what do your kids think about the fact that you're an author? And it's no different than if I were a plumber. Like they just grew up with me writing their whole life. So it's not that big of a deal, but maybe someday they'll pick them up.
I'm sure.
You talked a little bit about how planetary sciences kind of became a love for you, but what kind of research did you have to do? Because it's so, like, reading the book, I just thought Nicole is a planetary scientist, or, she must, because it's so well done. And along with that research about surviving in the wilderness, what kind of research did you do for that as well?
Oh man, the planetary sciences stuff, I just fell down a rabbit hole and read all the books I could get my hands on. I love it. I don't know what else to say. Astrophysics for Dummies or what book, who wrote that book? I can't think of the name right now. I'm so sorry. I'll have to put it in the comments later. But yeah, I read a bunch of books and fell in love with it. As far as survival and stuff goes, I didn't have to do a whole lot of research on that necessarily because we knew that when we were hiking and camping, like you need a bear whistle, you need, a foil blanket in case things get really cold, you need flares, you need all of these things. And I'm sure I have them in the basement somewhere. I probably shouldn't use them anymore, but but they exist in my home.
Yeah, I would be a mess.
I'm
Like as soon as you say bear whistles, I'm like, I'm out.
Yeah. Kind of agree with you, Kimberly.
You do or you don't?
I do.
Oh.
I'm, I love nature and I love outdoors and hiking and stuff, but I'm kind of like, after the hike, I like to go to a lodge.
Yeah.
Well, I should say I'm a lot older now. Back in the day, we would do that and we would sleep, in sleeping bags just on the hard ground. I don't think I could do that anymore.
No, like how do you walk the next day?
I know. I don't think I'd be able to. And I'll tell you my worst story, my worst bush camping story. We went out for May long weekend with a group of friends, and it was still like in the spring, all the snow is melting off of the mountain, right? So rivers can get pretty high. So we pulled off our car and we hiked, down to a river. We made a raft. We had so much fun. And that night we went to bed. As we were going to bed, it started to rain a little bit. And we're like, oh, no big deal. We have tarps. It should be just fine. Not that big of a deal. So go to bed. I wake up in the middle of the night to use the facilities, and I open the zipper and step my foot out of our tent into 3 inches of water.
Mm.
The river, when we went to bed, the river was maybe 50 feet away from us. When I woke up in the middle of the night, the river was at our tent. If I wouldn't have woken up, we would have been swept downstream. It was crazy.
That's terrifying.
Yeah.
Oops.
It was kind of dumb. We should have known that we were camped too close, but yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, but 50 feet, who thinks?
I
Well,
know,
mean,
right?
Yeah,
Yeah, we thought we were far enough away, but
yeah.
Wow.
we survived.
Thank goodness.
Definitely.
So Christine wants to know if you could write in another genre, what would it be?
Oh, that's such a fun question. Honestly, I would write fantasy.
Mm.
That's fun.
Yeah, I would
You would
love-
definitely need to plot it out. That
Right.
would be a really hard one to pants.
Yeah. I have a whole world actually that I
Hmm.
dreamt up in late high school and have literally been thinking about for the past like 25 years. So I know exactly what would happen. I would love to do it sometime. I just, need the time.
Who were we
do
talking to,
that?
guys? We had someone that we interviewed that said that they always say, oh, it was Chevy.
Oh, yeah.
She has like I don't remember what she called them, but basically her little like special projects that she works on, and they're all different genres.
Yes. Yeah.
I love that. Is she ever going to publish them, like self-publish or something? Or
I don't know. She said I didn't have the idea that any of them were done,
Mhm.
Okay.
but there were a couple that she said that if she got hit by a car tomorrow, she'd be sad she hadn't written. So I think
Aw.
one day they'll come. But
Yeah,
yeah,
That's
I can relate to that. That's cool.
yeah, agreed.
So Hemlock House is such an incredible, setting and home. Will you ever think about going back in your writing?
To write another book there? Oh, that's, I would love to. Once you guys know, once you've built a world and created these characters, like you know them so well, and returning to them is like returning to a favorite vacation spot or whatever. I would absolutely love to do that. I don't think it'll happen, but I am working my next book proposal that I just turned into my agent a couple of days ago. Yay! I hope we get a contract out of it. Takes place on an island in the San Juans, based off of Guaymas, which is right across the channel from Anacortes, where my family has vacationed a couple of times. So similar-ish area, similar kind of feel. I love the Pacific Northwest, so it'll be fun to go back there.
Ooh, we can't wait to hear more about that.
Love it.
All right, you guys. Killer Nicole is giving away 2 copies of Where He Left Me to lucky US viewers. Doesn't matter where you're watching. We scour the comments everywhere we stream, but please make sure to shout out where you're from when you answer this question. What is the name of the house in Where He Left Me? Clue. It starts with an H, and we might have
Heather
just.
gave you some good clues.
Yeah.
Good luck, everybody.
All right. The Killers are big fans of independent booksellers and want to send them all the support. Tonight, Nicole has chosen Swamp Fox Bookstore in Marion, Iowa as her killer store. Nicole, tell us why you love Swamp Fox so much.
I love Terry. She's amazing.
Yes.
Actually, the whole team there is amazing. And it's just such a fabulous little store filled with people who love books and who love authors and do everything they can to champion and cheerlead good books. So I feel grateful to know them.
Yeah. Well, send them all the love. I just dropped the link in the comments so you can pick up Nicole's Where He Left Me, along with any other books on your wish list.
Yeah, and Nicole, you have a book box there too, right? Where if folks pre-order, they will get the book and a candle.
Yeah, the candle is from Ironwood Candle Company, which is a small women-owned business in Iowa. I love them. I love the stuff that they do, and the candle is sandalwood and forest moss. So the idea is that it evokes the setting. You know, burn it while you're reading, and it'll feel like you're there.
Love it.
And also included is a link to a deleted chapter. So there's a deleted chapter from Felix's perspective that all pre-orders will receive, as well as a card for stargazing. There's 5 different kind of like easy to find constellations, and it tells you exactly how to find them and what they mean. And then the final thing in there is a soundtrack. So you have a QR code that will take you to a Spotify soundtrack.
Oh, so clever. I love it. All right. You guys go to Swamp Fox.
Yeah.
Lots of fun. Well, obviously, as killers, we love to read, and we love it when you share what you're reading in our Facebook group. So post pictures, write reviews, ask for recommendations, and give yours. Tonight, though, we want to know, Nicole, what have you been reading?
Well, I have 2 that I have to talk about. Right now, I'm in the middle of Hank Philippi Ryan's All This Could Be Yours, which is a really fun read. It's about a blockbuster best-selling author who's on book tour. I'm not the blockbuster bestseller, but I am going on book tour in a couple of weeks, and it's kind of freaking me out. No, it's a really fun read. I love it. But I also want to talk about Wild Dark Shore by Charlotte McConaughey. I read that a couple of weeks ago, I guess, maybe months at this point. It's just one of the best books I've read this year. I can't stop thinking about it, and I can't stop talking about it. It's so good.
Thank you for that. Okay, and you guys, we have 2 fabulous new releases we want to celebrate tonight. First, we have The Wrong Sister by Claire Douglas. When Tasha's sister Alice is admitted to the ICU following a brutal attack, the police and family are at a total loss as to who would want to harm her, until Tasha receives a note that says, "It was supposed to be you." Yikes. Okay, next we have The Tutor by Courtney Saki. Think The Housemaid meets White Lotus, a sharp, twist-filled story set against the backdrop of glamorous and sinister Palm Beach. I love that setting, where everyone has something to hide and no one is exactly who they claim to be. That sounds so good. So Claire is giving away 1 copy of The Wrong Sister, and Courtney is giving away 1 copy of The Tutor to U.S. viewers. Comment if you want in and tell us where you're from. Good luck. And because we are all shamelessly plugging our own murdery fun all the time, don't miss the Killer's latest reads.
That's right. Kara's We Were Never Friends is about a sorority reunion that takes a very, very dark turn. Pre-order now before the party gets started.
Speaking of deadly parties, Heather's serving up the perfect hosts, an over-the-top gender reveal party that explodes in more ways than one. Coming in November, and pre-order now.
And finally, Kimberly's taking you on a deadly European getaway, the Expat Affair, 2 Americans, the glittering diamond trade, in danger in Amsterdam.
And you guys, if you're hanging out on Facebook, come join our secret lair, the private members only Killer Author Club. Every episode, we draw a name from the hat for some killer swag. We've got t-shirts, mugs, candles, you name it. So jump in, join in on the fun, and take a peek at all the goods over at killerauthorclub.com. But tonight's winner is Tammy Calhoun. Congrats, Tammy. Please send one of us killers your address, and we will send some swag your way. If you want to be the next winner, join us, and the link is coming up in the comments. Also, while we're at it, a big killer thanks to Book Reporter for sharing the murdery love. Stay up to date on bookish news and events at bookreporter.com.
And Nicole, we have some very, very good news for you. You have survived the Killer Author Club.
Yay. It wasn't too painful.
That's good.
Now, can you tell us where readers can find you?
Yeah, I'm all over online. I'm on Instagram and Facebook, Threads, Threads. Is that what it's called?
Yes.
I don't remember. But I'm also on Substack. I have a Substack
Mhm.
called This Stays Here that talks about community and how to be a better neighbor. It's not quite related to my writing, but I love writing there too.
What's it called?
It's called This Stays Here.
Okay.
Hmm.
Check it
Very
out.
thoughtful, very thought-provoking.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Okay. Well, thank you for being here, Nicole. And that's a wrap on tonight's episode. Thanks to all you guys for hanging out with us. We'll be back in 2 weeks with our very own killer, Heather Gudenkopf, and the killer.
1 week.
Oh, 1 week. Oh,
Yeah, it's next
1
week.
It said 2 weeks here, but you're right. It's just 1 week. Everything's going so fast. Okay. Yes. Next week, we will be here with Heather in the killer hot seat, spilling all the details on her literally explosive new thriller, The Perfect Host. We loved it. It's so fun. Until then, you can catch us wasting way too much time on Instagram, Facebook, Threads too, and occasionally TikTok and Substack. For the full schedule of past episodes, recipes, and merch, head to killerauthorclub.com. Thank you for being part of the club.
Thanks for having me. It was so fun.
That does it for tonight's show. Thank you for tuning in. If you'd like to catch our next show live, we're every other Tuesday night on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. For times, upcoming schedule, and to catch up on past episodes, visit us at killerauthorclub.com. Happy reading. Now get on out there and kill that TBR.